It is Easter Sunday morning, and Mary Magdalene arrives at the tomb, looking for a dead Jesus. The stone has been rolled, pushed aside, and Jesus' body is nowhere to be found. Mary has gone to the tomb of a crucified person, a disgraced person, a person seen as a political rabble-rouser. She has gone looking for a dead Jesus. Was she crazy? Was she curious? Was she courageous? In this gospel telling of the Easter Sunday story, Mary Magdalene is the first disciple at the tomb. In all four gospels, she is present. In this gospel, she is first. Renita Weems, in her book Just a Sister Away, says we can assume that Mary Magdalene was a leader, at least among the women, because she is often listed first. In Luke's telling of the Easter Sunday story and throughout his gospel, women are major players, and on this occasion. In John's gospel telling of the story, Mary Magdalene is the first disciple at the tomb, looking for a dead Jesus. Was she crazy? Was she curious? Was she courageous? I imagine Mary was a bit of all three, and then some. In sure danger to herself, alone in the early morning darkness, our sister had to have been a little crazed to make this trip by herself. As the student of a teacher who changed her life, this sister had to wonder, had to feel curious about what would become of Jesus and the disciples who followed him, herself included. At the tomb of a political revolutionary who had just been put to death by the state, Sister Mary Magdalene strikes me as wildly courageous. What might have happened to a female associate of such a man as Jesus? She showed great courage, in spite of the fact that she didn't stay long at the tomb, ran back to get some others, and stood outside weeping after those others returned home. Crazy, curious, courageous, and overwhelmed with a grief so deep that it finds her alone. A woman at the tomb of a dead troublemaker that she believes she will never see again. A woman at the tomb of a dead troublemaker that she will not get to provide a proper burial. A woman at the tomb of her dead teacher. A teacher who will soon call her back to herself, but right now, in public and alone, Mary weeps. Mary imagines this is the end of the story for Jesus and for her. Nothing, not her safety or her public appearance, matter now. And so she lets the tears fall. Interesting interlude before the climax of the story. Mary has a quite casual conversation with a couple of angels in the tomb. And then, without so much as a nice talking to you, she whirls around to see Jesus standing behind her. I've always wondered, what makes Mary turn around? The text doesn't say Jesus called out to her, or tapped her on the shoulder, or did anything else to get her attention. What turned Mary around? What turns any of us around? Why does the Wall Street banker walk away from her job one day and decide to mentor children instead? Why does a person leave an abusive relationship today, but not yesterday or last week? Why can we speak a loving and kind, compassionate word to an irate customer on this occasion, but not the last one? What turns any of us around? Could it be new life, new hope, new possibility? I was in my early 20s when a very important relationship ended. I thought I was going to die. Some days I wanted to die. You know, when you're 20. How could I go on with the mundane tasks of living when everything I cared about was dead? Who cared about making a living, paying the bills, eating? My relationship was dead. My life was over. The world was gray, much like our city at the end of a long winter. There was no color, no life, at least none that registered for me. And then my father told me, you can always come home. I thought he meant for the weekend. But as it dawned on me that he meant for good, everything changed. While my father's invitation was offered in love, returning home symbolized everything but life to me. In an instant, I felt something inside turn me around. I felt something inside restore color to the world and point out new life, new possibilities, new hope, where before there had been none. The tears dried up. And there was a growing determination to get my life back. We've got to get our lives back. Something inside turned me around, and I knew my story would have a different ending. I wasn't going back home to live the life that others imagined for me. That life was death for me. And so I turned towards a new life. What turns any of us around? Convinces us to choose life over death, joy over mourning, a different ending to our story of grief, to see the world in color again that before had been gray, to say, yes, I can do this. What turned Mary around and toward new life? What called her attention from the two angels dressed in white and back to her true self? You see, I believe in this final face-to-face lesson. Jesus, the Rabboni, the teacher, wanted Mary to know there was something in her that she could access and call on long after he was gone. He didn't turn her around. That which was in her, that which was always in her, that which connected her and connects us to new life in Jesus Christ, that thing turned her around, brought her back, brought me back, brings us all back to new life. Fresh life. Life lived in color. Life lived in confidence that Jesus, though he is not standing behind us or before us, is with us, within us. Always has been. Always will be. This may go without saying, but new things look very different from dead things. Perhaps I'm stating the obvious. But you will not see new life if you're looking for dead bodies. The flowers erupting from the earth right now that my daughter and I are enjoying look nothing like their sisters who died last fall. If you are hoping to see baby rabbits and baby chicks this Easter, don't go to the place where the dead animals are buried. If you want to see the risen Christ and be turned around, don't go to the tomb looking for a dead Jesus. You won't recognize what you came looking for because new things look very different from dead things. The new life that was the risen Jesus was different somehow. Mary didn't recognize new life. And we may not either. How much life do we miss because we are looking for dead things, dead relationships, dead attitudes, dead directions and paths? How often do we miss new life? Do we miss God because he is other than what we came looking for, because he is a she, for example, or a child, or a homeless person, or a bird, or a tree, or the breeze? Be on the lookout for new life, because it may be something other than what you came looking for. It's Easter Sunday. Jesus is up and out of the tomb. The God we love said, "On the third day I will rise." And we rejoice to sing, "I serve a risen Savior." All around us, Jesus is up and out of the tomb, making all things new and calling us to transform our mourning and weeping into joy, to open our eyes to new life. Alleluia, Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Alleluia.